Hello everyone, today I'm going to share my thoughts on the Trend Tracker tool. We'll see together whether this tool can be useful for you. It's a tool I use today for three main reasons. The first reason is to look for product ideas, and for that I use the shop section. I also use the AD section to get inspiration from ads that work, and then I use the brand tracker section to analyze competitors. So if you need any of these three features, this tool can be useful. So first of all, here in the shop section, what's interesting is that there are filters created directly by TrendTrack to save you time. For example, you have the gems of the week. Here you can see there are 500 brands and you can go and take a look like this. Here, for example, these are microfiber wipes. And so here, this can give you product ideas. Everything in the shop section is pretty good for ideas. So if you're in the product research phase, knowing that there are over 1,300,000 shops listed and that the tool is designed for that. So for example, some small filters. Here, the ones I use, I've pre-saved them with new brand. So that's also nice. You can save your filters and put them in a folder. And so here, for example, because you can't search through a million brands, I set the traffic between 10,000 and 100,000 with strong growth of 40% over the last 3 months. For the creation date, you can set it to the last 3 months. That way, there are even fewer shops here to analyze. And for products, I set it from 0 to a maximum of 40 so as not to have a huge library. What's interesting here is mainly the ability to search, as I mentioned before, for a product, so potentially for product inspiration. And keep in mind that you can also directly type in keywords or go into your niche. That's pretty useful if you know you want to target, for example, the health niche or pets, etc. Just click on it and it will pre-filter for you based on the niche. And so if I show you a bit, when I click on the shop, I can either add it to my brand tracker and then I'll really be able to track all the information. So here there are no ads, unfortunately. I picked a bad example. Otherwise, here we have the traffic data, all the apps that are being used, and the top products, the best-selling products. So here we can see the progress of the ads. Here they've reset to 0, but at least we have a bit more data. And here we have tools used by Shopify. When you scroll down here, you have all the ads that are currently active. And the most interesting ones, for example, the most relevant, those that have been running the longest, etc., or the most duplicated ones. Now let's move on to the next part. Ad. Here, what's interesting compared to maybe other tools is that you can have filters on the ads. For example, here I can target the language. I can specify how many times the post has been duplicated. I can specify how long it has been running. For example, I can have an ad that has been running for a year and the niche as well. That's great. Interesting. So if we now go to the AD tab here, it's mainly to get inspiration from ads that are working today. And for that, you'll also have quite a few filters. So you have filters for everything related to ads here. And you can combine these ad filters with filters on the Meta page or even the Facebook page, for example. Here you can see the number of followers so you don't end up with brands that are too big. For example, you can set 10,000 followers on Facebook and you can also mix ad filters with shop filters. So for example, here as well, you can set a maximum of 40 products or filter by the shop's creation date. Make sure it was created within the last 6 or 3 months, for example. This way, you get brands that have just been created, always for inspiration. Otherwise, you can also look at the top ads. And just so you know, you also have spending data for Europe and the UK. So for example, you can set it so that you're only looking for ads that have spent at least $10,000. That way, you can be sure you're seeing ads that have gotten a huge number of views and that you can draw inspiration from. Because often, if they've been viewed that much, it means they're profitable behind the scenes. So the third section here is the page section. So it's the same thing, another way to do research. It's not necessarily the one I use the most, but it's interesting, it gives you another perspective as well. The targeted audiences, the targeted countries, it's always super interesting for every brand. And then we'll move on to the brand tracker because that really gives you a lot of data. So here actually you can save the companies that interest you the most into folders. So for example, if I take the brand Animove here, you have both the shop data, but also here you can see I'm on the metadata. And in the metadata, they've actually done quite a lot of things. So here we're moving on to competitive monitoring in the end. So third major feature. So we saw the first feature was product research. Second, ad analysis to get inspiration and do the same. And so the third part is competitive analysis. So here I can see everything related to ads, launched ads, currently active ads, etc. With graphs, demographics. I can see which ads are being tested or not. I can also see, this is super interesting, the texts that are written in the ads. And also the hooks and scripts. So here, for example, if you sell like this brand, the glove for removing cat hair, you can go to transcript and you can directly download the transcript. You can copy and paste it. You can also copy the video directly simply by clicking here. So it's super convenient. There are tons of shortcuts to help you save time. So the last part I'm going to show you is here. Actually, you can save the ads that interest you. So basically all your monitoring into folders and subfolders. You can either save shops, but also ads. Here, for example, I've made myself a folder with lots of static ads that have performed really, really well. You can see here 66 million, 58 million, and so on. And what's great here too is that you can share your folder. You have, sorry. You can share it even if the person doesn't have a tracked account. So if you have a team, you can also give them access. Finally, with this data, once you've sorted it. So this is just an example. I also made a folder for animals and so on. You can organize yourself however you like. And it's true that it's pretty nice. So another cool advantage of the tool is that there's a referral system. So you can give out your code, and in return, you can get a free month on your tool if you know people in e-commerce. That's pretty cool. As for the prices, there are several pricing options. So let's take a look at that together. The one we're sharing an account today. We got a pro subscription to really have all the features with ads, the brand tracker, and so on. And we're allowed 2 users. So basically, it's kind of a cheapskate method, but here we're here to give you an honest opinion. So we shared an account, which lets us have it for about 30 euros a month because we have a promo code. By the way, I'll also put the promo code in the description for you, which is the code STL20. So I recommend going with that, but otherwise you can also try the starter plan. And to save money, you can go for 3 months right away, or if you're really committed, you can get the yearly plan, and that will also lower the cost. One last thing, I also wanted to mention that I have contacts with people who work at TrendTrack, and they're really nice people who respond and keep improving the tool. So that's cool too. It's a tool created by French people, and so you can easily write to them. There's a chat bubble here, and there's no problem at all. You'll get a response very quickly. So it's true that for a tool that's really in the e-commerce space, it's pretty cool to have French customer support that's quite responsive. So just a little bonus there. I wanted to point that out. If you're interested in this tool, don't forget. I'm putting the code Estelle20 in the description, which gives you 20% off your subscription for 3 months. I hope this review was helpful to you. Feel free to leave a comment and subscribe, and I'll see you again very soon.